2021 was an interesting year for me as a gamer. You see, I'm the kind of guy to just pour all of his time into the same few games endlessly because I love them so much, even when that beautiful honeymoon period of playing a new game has worn off. And for the past few years, those three games have been Smash Bros. Ultimate, Overwatch, and Dead by Daylight. But between Ultimate officially coming to a close, Overwatch 1 unofficially coming to a close, and Dead by Daylight, well, just being Dead by Daylight in general, I've had the unintentional opportunity to sort of just step back from some of my most played games of the past few years in order to try out new games. And it's been a lot of fun as a result. I played a lot of good games this year, excluding Cyberpunk. So for the first time, I've thrown together a list of some of the best games I've played this year, all for your viewing pleasure. And to kick that off is, Fortnite. Now look, I know what you want to say. Oh my god, Fortnite, that's so cringe, and shut up! Shut up! Shut up! With Overwatch becoming extremely stale due to a lack of new content, Fortnite's managed to fill that gap for me in a much more casual way. No more sweating, cursing out my teammates, and questioning why in the hell any developer thought it was a good idea to buff Roadhog. Now I just get to run around, relax, complete some quests, and wonder how someone has the time to learn how to become a 4-story parking garage every time I take a shot at them. Coming off of playing Overwatch pretty loyally, it's been so nice to see new content make its way to a game frequently, filling both my need to look good in-game and, more importantly, have fun while playing. Also, the content in Fortnite has Sasuke from Naruto, so... Fortnite's far from a perfect gaming experience, but between its battle pass not being quite as sloggy as I was thinking it was going to be, its gunplay feeling pretty satisfying, and it being free to play with crossplay so I can game with my friends. Climb up this staircase with me? Or no? Zach, can you build a staircase right in front of us? Okay, thank you. Now jump on this staircase, Shafiq. And now climb up here. What does that say? Fortnite's been a pretty damn good game to hop into this year, earning it my number 6 spot on this list. Ka-chow! I don't really know why I bought Super Mario 3D World for the Switch, but I don't really regret it. While 3D World itself is fairly fun, the real gem of this game is, of course, Bowser's Fury. This weird, random little expansion just slaps, and this is coming from a guy who's not on good terms with Mario, you know what I'm saying. I'm not much of a platformer guy, but Bowser's Fury was just too much fun. Within this tiny world, there's so much to do and so much variety to the things you see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? Bowser's Fury takes the best parts of 3D World and the best parts of Odyssey and then just smacks a cat filter on them both. And it just works. My only real gripe with this game is how short it is. I beat it to 100% within a day, and it just left a cat-shaped hole in my heart that is yet to be filled by anything else. If this is a sign of what to expect for the next proper mainline 3D Mario, then damn it, I'm not only sold, but I'm actually pretty giddy waiting for it. But the real reason it's here at the number 5 spot is because Bowser Jr. is a monster and I love him. I randomly picked Nier Automata up on a whim back in 2020 when it came to the Xbox Game Pass, and was shocked to find one of my favorite games of all time. The story was surprisingly deep and sad, with a lot of humanist, philosophical themes to it, and the characters were all their own shades of lovable, even the heartless little robot dudes. I thought it was going to be a pretty cliche action game with an over-sexualized protagonist and some bizarro Final Fantasy story, but it was genuinely just an amazing game with so much more to it than that. And a bizarro Final Fantasy story. If I was to make this list back in 2020, Nier Automata would have topped it without any sort of competition. It's just that damn good. So how did Nero Replicant version 1.22474487139 stack up to my over-the-top expectations? Well, it was pretty good. Replicant's combat maybe wasn't as flashy or complicated as Automata's, but it's still serious fun. Its soundtrack is just as good as Automata's, if not maybe even better, and while it didn't have as deep a dramatic dive into the human psyche as Automata did, the story was still pretty solid and cool, even retroactively adding to Automata's story in some ways, since the two were only partially connected before. Replicant did kinda miss a bit of a mark for me though, mostly because you had to replay through longer sections of the game a few times, just to experience more of the story. Something Automata did, but only once, and through the eyes of a different character who has different gameplay, and even fully different sections sometimes. But other than that, it's still an amazing game. It just doesn't get anywhere higher than number 4 because they made me read a whole lot. The number 3 spot on my list goes to none other than Halo Infinite. Specifically its campaign, not its multiplayer, though Fiesta is pretty fun. If Halo Infinite's campaign was just swinging around the map with this grappling hook, I'd still put it at the number 3 spot on my list. But thankfully, you also get to shoot aliens.
Alright, where to next?
Forever grateful, sir.
Oh. I'm gonna climb that. Come on, get up there, you big hunk of metal, goddamn.
I've seen a lot of people draw comparisons to this game and Breath of the Wild, because every open world game that's come out since Breath of the Wild is obviously just copying it. But I actually disagree. I think Halo Infinite is far more comparable to Far Cry, but if Far Cry was fun, you run around the map, clearing out enemies in different bases and liberating them, unlocking better and better gear along the way. But instead of being just some dweeb, you're a super soldier hopped up on hopium for the human race. The gameplay is wild and so varied. Every challenge can be tackled in so many different ways. You know what, let's play a fun little mini game. I'm gonna give you 4 options, and you comment down below which option you'd run with. You see an enemy base. Do you A, take the sniper rifle and pick the enemies off from afar? B, run in as a one-man army, improvising on the fly with your arsenal of tools to wipe out enemies in a blaze of glory. C, hide above the clouds, raining hellfire down with rockets from the Wasp. Or D, load up a Warthog with Marines wielding that broken sentinel beam, and have them melt anything that moves. I'll give you some time to comment to tell me which one you pick. If you choose any of these answers, you're not only wrong, but you're also stupid for not seeing the obvious answer, which is E, where you go and pick up that glitch scorpion gun and one-tap everything. The story to Infinite's campaign thus far is simple and kinda bare bone. Aside from the fight against Escharum, not much really happens on the grand scale. You only learn about what happened between Guardians and Infinite through random lore drops scattered around the map. But to be honest, I still really liked Infinite's story, and it's because of how small scale and simple it is. For 20 years now, Chief and Cortana's entire relationship has been Cortana giving Chief information and Chief throwing back a cool one-liner, before the two are randomly now in weird love with bad writing. But Chief and the weapon have a much more organic relationship, built on their own flaws and fears as realistic people, even if neither of them are actually realistic people. Do you know how weird it was for Chief to take a knee next to his new pilot buddy and just trauma dump on him? Extremely. But it's what's finally making Chief an interesting character rather than just a guy in a suit of armor. For the first time in Halo's history, you're able to get under the skin of this guy and learn things about him that you'd normally only be able to find out in an auxiliary book that'll be retconned anyway. It really makes you feel like you understand Master Chief. I'm sure with their 10-year plan for Infinite, 343 is far from done telling this new and refreshing story, and I'm super excited to see where it goes from here.
I actually made it.
I picked up a number 2 game for like $8, and let me tell you, right now, Supergiant Games could call me up tomorrow and say, hey, we're gonna need $92 more. And I would thank them for charging me that much, because Hades is just a goddamn work of art. I had heard good things about Hades all throughout the latter half of 2020, but I didn't really get the hype until I picked it up myself. This game really just has it all. The combat is fast-paced and exhilarating, and not to mention nearly infinite in its replayability. You've got multiple weapons to choose from, stat boosts to pick, randomized perks to obtain throughout your run, and 4 completely unique different areas to fight through, each offering up their own fun, unique challenges. Well, actually, I wouldn't call the Satyrs and the Temple of Styx fun, but you know what I mean. The gameplay is that perfect balance of fun and challenging, making you feel awesome and worthless all at the same time. You really feel like Zagreus. The story of Hades is also a breath of fresh air, an all too relatable tale of teenage rebellion, except instead of little Timmy sneaking out to the 7-Eleven 10 minutes after his bedtime to buy a slushie, it's the son of the King of Hell trying to break out of the underworld, aided by a cast of lovable family members who happen to also be the Olympians themselves. The way it tells its story as well is so fun and creative. Every time you die, you're sent right back to your dad, who call you a little baby and tell you to clean your room, before you jump right back into the gauntlet with your favorite wine aunt, Dionysus. Then there are even budding relationships within the RNG of the roguelite combat, with your Olympian family giving you more and more encouragement, and more importantly, family tea to spill each time you accept one of their boons. And then the repeated back and forth banter with the bosses as well. God, I hate Theseus, but I also love to hate Theseus. That guy sucks. And then the music? Ooh. baby. I wish Zachary's got into Smash almost solely because I want to jam out to this stuff while screaming at Wi-Fi Zeldas. There's one interaction I remember where Zagreus compliments Orpheus on his beautiful singing. And it's really funny, because the same guy is responsible for all three of those things. Darren Korb has supposedly described the game's music as Mediterranean prog rock Halloween, and I honestly have no idea what that means, but damn it if it isn't the perfect descriptor. Hades doesn't just have an amazing story and beautiful art surrounding it, it also has awesome gameplay that I could honestly never grow tired of. It's just a masterpiece of gaming, and that's why I couldn't not put it high on this list. And now, my number one game of the year is actually a game that came out this year. Metroid Dread, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Mercury Steam, everybody. Let's go. Metroid Dread earned that reward. While I was writing this, I kept trying to think of ways to explain why I felt like Metroid Dread deserved this top spot. But there's really no sophisticated way to say it. It's just a damn fun game. The controls are tight enough that they don't play themselves, but they make you feel like you did something right when you use them well, but you did something wrong when you use them poorly. Emmy zones are tense as could be, and navigating them is always an interesting puzzle itself, which only becomes more intense and interesting if you're impatient like me and just run headlong into danger to find an exit. And the boss fights? They strike that awesome balance of hard, but fair. The boss fights were definitely the highlight of this game to me. They felt honestly like rhythm games, but if you remove the anime girls and also swap the verses around at random just to throw yourself for a loop. I probably died to every single boss fight a few times over, and while I may have gotten frustrated, I rarely ever felt like it was the game's fault that I lost. I was always able to immediately recognize what I had done wrong to lead to that moment, and so improvement always felt like it was an easy thing to accomplish. Except when it came to this stupid bug guy. I hate him. SQ, I hate you. But even with this dumb, stupid bug, I kept pushing on until I could experience that proud relief that comes with finally kicking the boss's ass after learning how to counter everything it does. The other big highlight of this game to me was the environments. I don't know how they managed to make all these different underground locales so unique and interesting, but they pulled it off. The whole story is you went underground, got ambushed, and now you're trapped, trying to ascend back to the surface of the planet. And yet, even underground, there's this gorgeous lush forest in here. There's a molten core that burns you up, there's waves of water violently thrashing around all over the place, and just so much more to see. Normally, in side-scrolling games like this, I would never really stop to smell the roses or appreciate what I'm seeing. But there were a good few moments of amazement in here, where I was able to just pause and catch my breath and appreciate the alien beauty of this planet. It really made me feel like Samus. Wait, you thought this video was over? No way, Joshua. Before we go, I want to throw in a little something extra for the year 2022. If I'm right, this year should be great for gaming, and thus my 2022 Game of the Year list will be explosive. So let's jump right into my 2022 predictions lightning round, so that we may return to it next year to see how wrong I was. Number 1, Nintendo will have at least 3 full directs this year, including the E3 presentation we know will happen. Number 2, Breath of the Wild 2 will be releasing in November, and its big selling point will be combining the refreshing exploration-based gameplay of Breath of the Wild with the classic dungeon-based gameplay of Zelda's past. Number 3, Pokemon Sleep will release. Number 4, Pokemon Legends Arceus will have the same DLC model as Sword and Shield. Number 5, Unite's Anniversary will have Mewtwo released as a playable Pokemon. Number 6, Overwatch 2 will be given a 2023 release date, and it'll come out with an open beta. Though I may make a more in-depth video to talk about this later, assuming Blizzard doesn't beat me to the punch. New playable heroes will also feature Iggy, Mauga, and the Junker Queen. Number 7, Dead by Daylight will break its usual only 2 collabs per year rule and have 3 collabs this year, with one of them being Five Nights at Freddy's or The Walking Dead. Number 8, Fortnite collaborations will include Lil Nas X, Doom, Minecraft, Dragon Ball Z, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and some Nickelodeon property. But speaking of Nickelodeon, for number 9, Nick All-Stars Brawl will either get Timmy or Jimmy as DLC, and maybe Zuko if I'm lucky. Number 10, Elden Ring will win Game of the Year. Number 11, Jeff Keighley will use the Game Awards as an excuse to see his favorite band perform live again. Number 12, the Sonic movie will be better than the Mario movie. Number 13, Silk Song. Number 14, Mario Kart 9 will be announced and released for the holidays. Number 15, the 9th generation of Pokemon will be teased for 2023. That's all from me for now. I'm OhSoGeneric. Make sure to follow the 3 tenets of YouTube, and I'll catch you next time.